Welcome back to Introduction to Mobile XPages Development, a video blog series at pauldn.com. Part 3, Demonstration of Advanced Techniques Using the XPages Mobile Controls. This video blog series is based on our Mobile XPages Development course, available for purchase from tlcc.com. In this part 3 of the series, I'll be running several demonstrations in Module 6 and in Module 5, and I'll be providing some comments and a high-level overview of the design for these mobile techniques. And the first techniques that we're going to take a look at are how to filter large amounts of data, hundreds and hundreds of documents. How do you provide quick navigation to the information that the user wants on their small handheld mobile device? So first we'll take a look at filtering by category and other techniques working with categorized views. And we'll take a look at this technique where we have a single category view, and that's showing up in a mobile device. And we'll also take a look at some other techniques as well. This one here where we have a two-level categorized view. Customers first by region and then by type. And I'm just mirroring via AirPlay my iPhone device, and I can see my customers by region view in my iPhone, and I can expand north or south to access those customers. I can open up one of these documents like the Fox Run Golf course document to see that customer information. So again, this is a two-page mobile application with one page to show the document information, the document page, and the view page to show the information from the view, and in this case, a categorized view. So how was that done in Designer? Here in Designer, I see the applications that are used to deliver the demonstrations and activities in our mobile course. The customers, parts, and sales applications, they will provide our data sources for the various demonstrations. And it's in the Workbench database where I'll find my design components, like my XPages and my custom controls, and any XPages related resources, like image resources and style sheets. So here in our XPages, in our Workbench database, the demonstration that we just took a look at was the Mobile Demo 551 demonstration. Let's take a look at the design of that XPage. And in that XPage, when I expand the outline, we have a single page application. There are two applications within it. One here in line, and that's to show our data view control. And the second one is in a custom control to show the document page. So when we take a look at our data view control, this is a very simple technique in the All Properties. Just as we would add a summary column to show our customer information under a column category, the summary column, we'd also add a category column to show that first category, the region category. And that's all there is to that technique. Very, very simple approach when you have a categorized view as your domino view data source. Now, a variation of this is this XPage, Mobile Demo 552. And for this one, when we select our data view control, we can see that this one has two category columns. So the first one, once again, to show the region, and then the second one to show the type for the various customers that we have. Another approach is to take our by category column, in this case our region column, and put it in a navigator control, like an outline, on its own separate mobile page. And then when the user selects one of these categories, like South, they're not expanding that category. What they're doing is they're moving to another page, the view page, and that is now filtering by that selected category. So we can select another category like West from our menu page, and again we're moving to our view page and filtering by that selection. Here in the Designer, we see the design for our Mobile Demo 553 XPage. And this has a single page application control with three application pages within it. The first one has the outline where the user can select one of those 4 regions. The second, our view page, has our data view control to show just the particular customer documents for that selected region. And the third is provided through a custom control. This is the document page to show the details for the selected document from the data view. So turning to this menu page, this first home page, we can see that there is an outline, and when we expand the tree nodes property for that outline, we can see that there are 4 basic leaf nodes. This last one here has a label of west, and when that is selected, this is the location to go to. So going to that view page and setting a parameter, region equal to west. And similarly, if I expand some of these other ones, I'm going to expand one more of these. So for the label south, in this situation, the href property is pointing once again to hashtag view page to go to the view page and setting this parameter, region equals south. If we look at the XPage properties, specifically the XPage events, we can see that before render response event is coded with this code here. Okay. And basically, as long as the region parameter has a value and it's not null, then we're assigning that value to a view scope parameter, view scope region. If we take a look at our data view control and its properties, okay, and under data, this category filter property is the one to filter by category. And if we look at its value, it's a computed value. So reading that view scope region scoped variable, assigning that to another variable called region, and when that's not null, returning that to my category filter property. Okay, so whatever the user selects will ultimately be returned to my category filter property, and that's how we are filtering by category. Yet another filtering approach is to filter by column values. And we're going to take a look at this technique here, where we provide a drop-down combo list control to select one of our customers, and then we're going to filter from our orders by customer view, just those orders for that selected customer. So here's the demo, and I can select from the combo box drop-down one of our customers. Select Fox Run Golf, and I see the orders for that selected customer. I can select a different customer, and I can see the orders for that selected customer. Here in Designer, again, we see this is a 2-page application. So in our single-page application control, we have our view page, which has our data view control, and also this combo box control to select one of the customers, and this document page to show the order for the selected order. Here on my view page, when I take a look at the design for this combo box control, I can see on the Values tab that the values, the selection list is computed, and basically going to our sales application, specifically the sales order by customer view, to perform a DB callup and return column 1 from that sales orders by customer view, returning all of those customers and providing a unique list for my combo box control. On the Data tab, I see my combo box control is bound to a scoped variable, the selected customer view scope variable. And here in my data view, when I look at its properties, I can see that we're not using the category filter. Now we're using the keys property, which is computed, and just returning view scope selected customer to that keys property. And that's how we can see just the particular orders for a particular customer. Another great filtering approach is to take advantage of Domino's full-text searching capabilities. And that's what we take a look at this in this lesson and in this example. So providing some sort of a full-text search bar to filter large amounts of data. So here in the demonstration, we can enter a search string, Atlanta, ATL, asterisk, to search for anything that begins with ATL asterisk, and I can see a couple of records or documents were returned for that particular search. Here in Designer, again, we see that two-page approach where we have a view page with a data view control to display our customers and provide that search bar at the top. And then there is a document page delivered through a custom control. Here on our view page, when we take a look at that search bar custom control, the user is going to enter in a value into this search query, and this is bound to a view scoped variable search query. When we take a look at our data view control and its properties, not filtering by category, not filtering by column value. In this example, doing a full text search, so the search property is being assigned that view scope search query, whatever the user enters into that input control. This next technique is to use HTML5 input types to choose a different keypad depending on the input control. So in this case, we have a keypad to choose a date, and there are other HTML5 keypads or input types that are available, one for choosing or setting an email, another for search, another that's optimized for entering a telephone number and a URL, and so on. So let's take a look at that technique. This is the mobile demo 621 XPage, and there are HTML types for choosing the date time. So I can choose both the date and the time with this particular keypad. This one here, just for choosing a date. It provides that wheel selector for choosing a date. This one here for choosing a month and year. The week one, not supported for iOS devices. So you do need to check to see whether or not the HTML5 type that you want to use is actually supported. Time is supported for iOS devices, so I can choose a time. For the telephone number, I get this telephone type keypad where I can enter a number. For email, the keypad, what's unique about this, looks like a normal keypad, but at the bottom we have an @ symbol for convenience, since most emails, in fact all of them, do contain that. There is a range type, so you can choose a range through a slider control. The search type includes a search button at the bottom, and the number type has a number keypad with a number of symbols that are useful for entering numbers as well. For the URL type, there's also a .com. That's on the keypad as well, and a / as well. So that's quite useful. Implementing this is very simple. It's just a matter of sending the type property for the edit box control. So for this date, this one where I want to use the date keypad, if I look at the all properties, under type here, you simply choose date. And then we can see all the choices here. There's text, color, date, date time, month, week, email, number, range, and so on. And that is it. Just choose the appropriate HTML5 type for the keypad that you want to display. Let's take a look at one more of these. For the one where we entered the telephone number, we can see that the type is tel. This next technique is certainly a lot more involved, and it involves loading the Google Maps API to map an address. And just scrolling through this lesson, we see the main steps that are involved. Load the Google Maps JavaScript API into your XPages resources, add a panel control for the map page, and add the JavaScript code to execute the Google Map function. So we can see in the lesson there's quite a number of steps involved to implement this technique. Let's take a look at the demo first. So here in the demonstration, I can select one of our customers. I can see that this customer has an address of 2700 Jefferson Road in Athens, Georgia. And when I select this view map at the top, we see on our mapping page the Google map for that location. And this is functional. I can expand it or shrink it. I can drop this little guy for a street view and walk that, and so on. So how was that done? So here in Designer, looking at mobile demo 652, this is the XPage that delivered that demonstration. We can see in the XPage properties under resources the addition of this client-side JavaScript library. Okay, so that's the Google Maps API added as a resource for the XPage. And then on the document page where we have that view map button, we can see in the events, we're using some server-side simple actions to build the functionality of that function. First, execute some server-side JavaScript, and then move to the application page, the map application page. So that JavaScript, let's take a look at that first. Building an address in the form that the Google Maps API can use to map, and then assigning that address to this scoped variable, viewScope.mapAddress, also assigning the customer name to viewScope.customerName. And then the second simple action is to move to that map page. So looking at the design of that third page, the map page, we see that there is a panel, and within that panel there is a div, and you can just see the dotted line for that div. And the div has the ID map_canvas. So we're going to address that div, and that's going to be the location for our map. Here in the panel under events, we have a on-client load event. So this is going to load when the panel is loaded, when the page is loaded, and it's going to execute this client-side JavaScript. First thing, retrieving the customer address from that scoped variable, map address, and the customer name from that scoped variable, customer name. And then calling this function here, get lat long, and passing that customer address. And here's that function. Using the appropriate Google Maps API to address the canvas for the map where we're going to build our map, assigning that to a variable called divMap. And then again, there's quite a bit of function here. This is the code to actually build the map. This is the code to add a marker to the map at that location. And this is the code to add an info window, a pop-up tooltip window when the user hovers over that marker. Release 9.01 introduced the device bean, which is a very useful bean to determine the type of mobile device and the operating system for the mobile device. So let's see this in action. So this is mobile demo 667, and there are a number of computed fields that have this either expression language or server-side JavaScript for these computed fields, returning whether or not this is a mobile device from the device bean, devicebean.mobile, false. In fact, all of these are false. It's not a tablet, it's not an iPhone, not running iOS, Android, BlackBerry, or the Windows operating system, at least the Windows Mobile operating system. So that's what we get on a desktop browser. And same XPage on my iPhone device. I can see that device being .mobile is true and .tablet is false. And I can also see that, yes, this is an iPhone. It's not an iPad. It is running the iOS operating system, not running the Android, BlackBerry, or Windows Mobile operating systems. Also, this is using device being .get version iPhone. This is running iOS 8. Actually, it's 8.12 for my iPhone device, but it's returning the first value of that. So how do you use that device bean in a practical way in a mobile application? Well, there are many uses for the device bean. You may want to style a button differently depending on whether or not it's an Android or an iPhone device. Or you may want to redirect depending on whether or not it is a mobile device to a mobile page versus a desktop page. And that's what we'll take a look at. We'll look at that one example here. So here's a visual representation of what we want to do. We want to have a main.xsp XPage, and we can pass a URL for people to access that from a desktop or from a mobile device. If accessing from a desktop, we're going to redirect to this desktop one start view XSP. Otherwise, we're going to redirect to this mobile one start.xsp. And this is the technique for doing that. In the after page load event for that main.xsp XPage, just running this code and using the device bean, testing whether or not it's a mobile or a tablet device. And if it is, redirecting to context, redirect to page, mobile one start XSP. Otherwise, going to desktop one start view XSP. So let's see that in action. Here in my desktop, I'm going to main.xsp and being redirected to desktop one start view.xsp, where I can see a full data view control with some extra columns on the right, and we can show the details and hide the details. So these are not the types of things that you would want to show in a mobile application. You just don't have the space for all of that. When I open up one of these, opening up the document XPage and showing in a 3-column format. Again, you wouldn't want to do this on a mobile device. So we've got a separate set of XPages for our desktop device. And when we show this same main.xsp or move to this same main.xsp on my mobile device, I'm actually being redirected to a different set of XPages, actually a single XPage, a mobile XPage. So here I can see that the data view on this XPage only shows the summary column, and when I open up one of these documents, I'm not getting that 3-column display that I'm seeing. I'm just seeing all of my information in 2 columns, one for the label and one for the actual data for that document. Here in Designer, I see the XPages that were used for that demonstration, main.xsp. That's where we have our redirection to either the desktop one start view XPage, and this is the accompanying XPage to show the document, or the mobile one start XPage, depending on whether or not it is a mobile device or not. So here in main XSP, not a lot in terms of user interface for this XPage. The only thing this XPage has is an after page load event with a redirect to the mobile one start XPage in the case where device bean is mobile or device bean is tablet. Otherwise, going to the desktop one start view XSP XPage. That concludes this part 3 of our mobile XPages development series. In this part, I demonstrated several advanced techniques from Module 6 and Module 5 in the course. In the next part, I'm going to be focusing on some enhancements that were introduced with the XPages extension library from OpenNTF, specifically the infinite scroll capability and the single page application wizard for constructing mobile applications. So until then, so long for now.